In this video, we're going to work an example of how to find the tangential and normal components of acceleration. And as a reminder, the normal component of acceleration is the scalar multiple of the unit normal vector. The tangential component is the scalar multiple of the unit tangent vector. And when we take these two vectors and add them together, what we get is the acceleration vector. The formula for finding the normal component of acceleration and the tangential component of acceleration are here. We have the normal component is going to be curvature multiplied by the magnitude of the velocity quantity squared, and the tangential component of acceleration is mag velocity, and then we take the derivative of that magnitude function. So let's get started in this example. The first thing that I'm going to do is convert this into pointy bracket notation. I find it to be less cluttered. So let's start with the velocity vector. It shows up in both of these components. The velocity vector is the first derivative of the position vector and an easy place to start. So velocity is the first derivative of position, so we are going to differentiate each of these individual components. The derivative of t with respect to t is just 1. The derivative of t squared with respect to t is 2t. And then the derivative of 4t is 4. Now, in the normal component formula, we'll look at the magnitude of the velocity function and then square that quantity. So let's look at mag v, which is going to be the square root of each of the components squared and added together. So that's 1. 2t quantity squared is going to be 4t squared, and then plus 4 squared is 16. So the magnitude of the velocity vector is going to be the square root of 17 plus 4t squared. Let's just make note here that this is not a constant, right? So this would make sense that the acceleration vector, or the derivative of velocity, is not going to be perpendicular to velocity. So this is a changing speed scenario. Continuing with the normal component of acceleration, we would now need to square this quantity. So mag v quantity squared is this radical squared, which would just end up being the radicand, 17 plus 4t squared. And this is part of what we need for the normal component of acceleration. Before we find curvature, because that's going to take a little bit of a minute, let's go ahead and actually differentiate the magnitude of v function, because we're going to need that for the tangential component. So the derivative of mag v is going to be the derivative of 17 plus 4t squared, which by the chain rule gives us 1 over 2 radicals 17 plus 4t squared, and then we'll multiply by the derivative of the inside, which would just be 8t. Canceling the 2's here, we would end up with now 4t over square root 17 plus 4t squared. And this scalar quantity is the tangential component of acceleration. So now let's go back up and deal with finding the curvature in order to finish with the normal component of acceleration. So thankfully, we actually have 3 ways to calculate curvature. We could take the unit tangent vector, find its derivative, and then take its magnitude, which, by the way, is not necessarily going to be 1. The magnitude of the unit tangent vector is 1, but the magnitude of its derivative may or may not be 1. We cannot guarantee that the magnitude of the derivative function is 1. So we would find that quantity and then divide that by the magnitude essentially of the velocity vector, which we've already found. So let's actually go ahead and try to see if this is a good option for determining curvature. So as we mentioned before, we would find the derivative of the unit tangent vector and then find its magnitude and then divide that by the magnitude of the velocity vector, which we already have. The magnitude of velocity was right here, so we can pop this down into our denominator and say this was the square root of 17 plus 4t squared. So it seems like this might be a good path for us. Now let's find the unit tangent vector. take its derivative, and find its magnitude. So as a reminder, this is our position vector, r at t, and the derivative of position, which of course is the velocity vector. The unit tangent vector is going to be a unit vector in the direction of the tangent line. The tangent line is in the direction of the first derivative of position, and so then we would need to divide that by the magnitude of the first derivative. So essentially, this is the same thing as v divided by its own magnitude in order to get a unit vector in the direction of the tangent line. We already found mag v, and if you don't mind, I'm going to actually drop the functional notation, drop the of t bit, just because I'm having to write this over and over, and that's totally fine. So mag v is the square root of 17 plus 4t squared, and I'm actually going to now write that in descending order. So now the unit tangent vector is going to be the vector v, which is 1, 2t, and 4, and we're going to divide that by the scalar quantity that is the magnitude of v, and so we'll be dividing that by 4t squared plus 17. So we get a vector when we divide a vector by a scalar quantity, and the resultant vector is going to be each of these individual components divided by this changing scalar. So of course this unit tangent vector changes in direction depending on where we are on the curve. It's always going to have a magnitude of 1, but the components of the vector are going to be changing. So let's see, what is it that we're going to be needing up here in order to get the numerator, that is the curvature that's going to be used to find the normal component of acceleration. Our next steps are going to be to differentiate this thing. When we take the derivative of this unit tangent vector, we've got some interesting derivatives ahead of us. We're going to have to use the quotient rule here, and certainly the chain rules on each of these two. So this derivative vector is potentially going to get quite large, and then we have to take the magnitude of that, all to find just the curvature, and then use that ginormous quantity in order to come back up here and find the normal component of acceleration. Before we go any farther down that road, I just want to bring to our attention that we have options, right? This is actually the same thing that we've been doing because it's just calling r prime v, but let's take a look at this. Before we go down this very long road of finding curvature this way, let's just see if this is an easier option for determining the curvature. So we're not going to erase any of that because we might come back to it if this other option doesn't prove to be any easier, but there's the potential that we're bailing out of that method. So we've already found the first derivative. It was 1, 2t, and 4. Finding the second derivative is a piece of cake here. The derivative of 1 is 0, the derivative of 2t is 2, the derivative of 4 is 0. And this doesn't look too complicated, so that when I take the cross product of the first derivative and the second derivative, we have ijk, 1, 2t, 4, 0, 2, 0. So our cross product is going to be I multiplied by the determinant that results from these 4 elements. So that's going to be 0 on this diagonal minus 8 is the product of the other diagonal, so this is going to be negative 8. And then we subtract j times the determinant that results from these 4 elements. So we're going to have 0 minus 0, which is just 0. And then plus k times the determinant that results from these 4 elements. So we've got 2 minus 0, so that's just going to be 2. So the r prime cross r double prime vector is going to be negative 8, 0, and 2, and then if we were to calculate the magnitude here, we get the square root of each of these terms squared and added together. So this is going to be 64 plus 0 plus 4, so the magnitude here is going to be square root of 68, and a 4 comes out of that as a 2, so it's 2 rad 27s. So back up here, we've found the numerator to be 2 rad 27s. Now we're just going to look at the magnitude of the derivative vector and cube that quantity. So our derivative vector was right here. We'll find its magnitude. And I feel like we've already done this, but it's pretty easy to crank it out. So we've got 1 and 2t quantity squared is going to be 4t squared, and then 4 squared is 16. And yes, this is 4t squared plus 17. We did already have that. So we're going to take this and then cube it to get what we need in the denominator, giving us the curvature. So the curvature turns out to be the magnitude of this cross product, which in the numerator was going to be 2 rad 27s, divide that by the magnitude of the derivative quantity cubed. This turns out to be, let's call it 4t squared plus 17, and then raise that to the 3/2 power, right? This radical is to the 1/2 power, and then when we cube that, we get radical cubed, which is to the 3/2 power. And so we take this curvature back into the normal component formula. Remember, we've already found the tangential component, so let's just bring that down here. Continuing to find the normal component, we'll use curvature, which is 2 rad 27s over 4t squared plus 17, raise that to the 3/2 power, and then we'll multiply that times the magnitude of velocity squared, which is basically speed squared. Curvature times speed squared. Now remember, we've found this magnitude of velocity several times, so let's just pop this in here. This is mag v, but mag v squared would just be the radicand popping out. Of course, we're squaring that radical. So let's then just call this as a multiplier 4t squared plus 17 to the 1st power, and we can cancel these factors. This 4t squared plus 17 cancels with 2 over 2 of these, right? So this is 3/2. I'm going to pull one of them out to cancel with the one that we have in the numerator over here. So what remains is 2 rad 27s over 4t squared plus 17, but now it is to the 1/2 power because we canceled essentially 2 of the halves from up here. Now the second part of this question asked when the object was speeding up, and as you'll recall, we get a speeding scenario when the tangential component is greater than 0. Our tangential component turned out to be 4t over the square root of 4t squared plus 17. Notice that this denominator here is always going to be positive value, right? And the only time this fraction is going to be negative is if the t value was negative. And so this fraction is going to be positive anytime the t value is positive. So when is the object going to be speeding up? We could say that it's going to be speeding up anytime the t value is greater than 0. Let's make mention of the fact that it has to be strictly greater than 0, because if the tangential component of acceleration is exactly equal to 0, that's the situation when we have no change in speed.